I ask for the truth on behalf of Alexis Robinson concerning career issues. And I ask this in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And blessed be to the spirit of truth always. And we just place the deck along here. I think what I'm going to do, just for change, I've started just moving it just up there. I just hope you can just see that there, I think, can you? I think. Can I see it on the screen? Just about, I think. Let me just put it there. That's it. That's a bit better, isn't it? I just thought I've put it there, I've got more space just to deal 3 cards along here. So what we'll do, the first card we deal is in the possession of the recent past. The next card there for you, Alexis, is in the position of the present, and then of course finally the immediate future. So we have here recent past influence, present influence and immediate future influence. Let's see what's going on though first of all for your recent past. What's been going on there? A period of time over between now and this time last month, about the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, just concerning this question. We'll just get the card here, just flip it nice and slow, not to disturb its energy, just to flip it over there, and you've got the Tower, often known as the Tower of Destruction. This is a major arcana card. The original title for this card was War, because the idea was you had a serpent and a dove, so you could choose whether you had war or peace. So it was often called War. This has got like an airy sort of feel to it, hasn't it? Like as if you're able to control in some way, or you've been in control. But of course, with it being a major arcana card, unlike minor arcana cards, because you've got 2 decks on it in the tarot deck, you've got the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana, the first 22 esoteric major arcana cards. The esoteric major arcana cards are, I suppose, more permanent. They sort of depict things that are major, that are important, that are significant. So you could say that a significant part of the situation that you find yourself in now has just recently happened over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, if you see what I mean there. Minor arcana cards, the 56 minor arcana cards, I like to call them the elemental deck, which is air, fire, water, earth, which of course is swords, wands, cups and coins or discs, and that you're able to change things if you use the if you've got a minor arcana energy, that gives you a chance to sort of change it. But you've been unable to change what's been going on, of course, in that sense, just what's gone just recently, in the sense of the Tower often is the Eye of Horus in the Crowley deck. It's the Eye of Horus that strikes the tower and the garrison fall. But remember, those at the top fall the furthest, don't they? And maybe depends where you were at the time. Sometimes on some decks you've got the Tower and it's got like a door, a gateway or a door. I often focus on that door and say, is this a gateway or a door into hell itself, or is it an exit out of it? Is it a way out? And of course it's a draconian sort of energy. What's been going on just lately has been rather forceful upon you. You feel as though, yes, you were given no choice. Maybe often it can be the Tower depicts downfall. Maybe this could be anything from literal downfall in the sense of ruin in that way, or physical ruin, or it could be mental downfall, mental breakdown as well. It just depends. But either way, you've been experiencing just recently a draconian force that's had an impact on you. Of course, you've recently graduated, so congratulations for that. At least you've got something under your belt there, as you could say, for that. Let's see. I want to pull out the next card, which depicts the present influence, which just says where you are now. This is usually, it can be thought of as the effect of the recent past, and of course the cause of the immediate future, assuming if... Have you got power to change it, or is this another major card? It's a minor card. It's a minor arcana card. The Six of Cups. 6 is to do with analysis, and of course in this case, analysing what? Well, cups is to do with the element of water. Water is to do with time, because where the sun sets is where it sort of passes one sort of day or whatever, and it's also, it flows like time, doesn't it, water? But also it's related to feelings and emotions, and that's supposed to flow as well. In this particular case, because it's analysis and analysing one's feelings, this tends to focus on the past. Crow tends to give us the energy here of focusing on the past. Maybe right now you're reminiscing about the past. Maybe you're okay, for as much as you've had a bit of a sort of forceful sort of draconian energy there. The tower was struck actually, and you were sort of struck down in some way, shape or form. Remember this, the tower is often referred to as the Tower of Destruction as well. So maybe something was brought down. But on some tower decks, just back to the tower card again, on some tower cards, correction, not tower decks, in some decks, the tower card, like on the 1JJ deck, for example, has like a little shrub here growing. And I often think, is that like a seed or a seedling that's planting potential for the future? So for as much as everything around it falls, for as much as the Eye of Horus strikes and the garrison fall, nevertheless there is potential for new growth, even in the midst of calamity, as you could call it. Notice, but back to this, back to the future, back to the now, as you would say, back to here again, where you moved on and you're looking back at the past. Notice the bird spirits here. A lot of birds here, isn't there? The birds are often thought to be the guides. Why are birds thought to be the guides? Well, their spirits, they thought to carry the messages from heaven to earth, or from the heavens to the earth, and so they're thought to carry guidance from above. And of course, looking back at the past, how far back are you looking now? Are you looking past this point? Are you looking past over to what even went on even before, reminiscing about the past? It doesn't mean you're focusing on the future though, does it? Alexis, of course. It doesn't mean you're focusing on the future. But of course there are lessons to be learnt from the past. Reminiscing about the past, looking at the good times, of course, no doubt. That's one way of doing it, isn't it? Maybe there is guidance in the good times, in the sense of what did I do right to make that go right and to make me happy, whereas whatever struck me down just recently, I don't know. So maybe instead of focusing so much on what did I do right to make that go right and make me so happy, maybe you should be asking yourself also, what did I do so wrong, or what went wrong that struck me down right sort of recently over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. What was it that did that? What did I do, or whatever? So maybe it's one thing to reminisce about the good times, but maybe reminisce about the bad times as well. You can't have good without bad, of course. You can't have up without down. You can't have this without that. You can't have an inside without an outside. You wouldn't know which one was which, would you? You need the contrast. Let's see what the next card reveals for you. For the next 3 or 4 weeks or so, let's just flip this card nice and slow now, not to disturb its energy. Yes, you've got the Ten of Swords. Swords, of course, is to do with the element of air. Ten is the physical vehicle. So you could say the physical vehicle of creative and transmissive powers, which is what the element of air is, isn't it? Communication and knowledge, of course. But this, Crowley calls the Ten of Swords the Lord of Ruin. And of course the Lord of Ruin, notice the crow flying into the mist, maybe a bit like the Footprints poem, where you see one set of footprints and said, where the bloody hell's everybody gone? And actually that's the one that's been carrying you. And maybe Crow, you will be needing the Crow's guidance through the darkness into the light, through to the other side, over the next month or so, up to around Christmas time, I think. Or just till the end or around about middle of November, maybe. Well, yes, middle of November to then. So maybe just be careful here, because for what little flame there is burning, they're more smouldering flames, and new flames need to be lit afterwards. It doesn't look good for the immediate future there, Alexis. Maybe because you're focusing too much on the past. A past that went way beyond the recent past, and focusing on the future. When will I have kids, or when will I have, will I get married, settle down? That's to come. Don't worry about that for now. Let's get this thing sorted out. Let's deal with what's happening now. Don't define yourself by what you did back then, whatever you see, but good or bad. Define yourself by what you're doing now, and help you. And this will help you just get through this dark, this black and clouded period that's just around the corner there for you, Alexis. It doesn't look good for the immediate future, but that doesn't mean the long term is going to be bad, does it? It just means let's deal with what's happening now. Let's deal with what's happening for the foreseeable future, and let's just get through this. Ask Crow to guide you, and Crow will guide you. Crow is king, and Crow will guide you through the darkness into the light. So for now, until if we're drawn next time, or until the next chapter, as you would say, these cards have spoken.